there, Master Hellish here, and welcome back to my OpenTTD Series 10 Let's Play, where today we'll be starting the challenge number 4, that's the Vehicle Challenge. Now here we are at Hellish City, because in the last live stream we worked really hard to add new things around the city. We added lots more stations, going out to more industries, bringing in more resources from various different places, like this one over here, coming down and round, and just this one's a transfer, so it's coming in and unloading at that place and bringing it all round and through into the city. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, if we have a look at the list here, our town was actually supplied and grew for a month after failing quite a good bit. So I think we failed for around 13-14 months, and we're going to continue to fail every now and then because we need to keep bringing things up. Now, I know some members of the community are taking it upon themselves to have a challenge of trying to get to 20,000 inhabitants without it stopping at all. And some people are doing really well with that. But it is really challenging to do. So I won't be surprised if not everybody can get anywhere near that. So here we go. And one of the things that we're going to need is electrical parts when we hit 8,000. Now if you look, we're at 7,931, so we're very close to 8,000, and electrical parts actually come in down here from the wharf. We get the electrical parts out of there and we're delivering them already, so we don't need to worry about that. The next one on the list is the vehicles. So this is a really good time for us to produce vehicles, or try to produce vehicles, and then bring them over to the city. The bad news is we've only got 3.3 million left in the bank account. So we'll have to see how much money we can make with Hellish City whilst trying to make vehicles before we hit the 10,000 mark. And if we have a look at the lists of recent population increases over the years, we're averaging just under 1,500 a year. So I got a funny feeling June, July, yeah, we're going to have a problem. As long as our city keeps growing, we're going to have a problem, and we're not going to have it in time. But we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best. So today is going to be a bit of a different episode, okay? So we're starting the 4th challenge in the 4th area. We can have a big look at the big map here. We can zoom out off and turn the town names up. You can see that the city challenge so far doesn't really take up all of that area, but it might do. It might do by the end, because we're going to need a lot of resources coming in. And you can see up here in the no train zone, you can see we've got a few bits and bobs going on, and we will be doing more of that in the future. And of course, we've got our preservation lands, which we've still got a lot of work to do. We've still got various different junctions and timetables and special stations and all sorts to do. But it's the vehicle challenge. It's the vehicle challenge. Here we go. So, where are we going to do the vehicle challenge? Now, first things we need to do is we need to work out where we're going to start. So to start, if you look at the industry chains and we go to vehicles, we can see that we need an assembly plant. Okay, well, let's move that down here a moment. And now I've set myself the extra challenge of not funding any industries at all. So we can't fund an assembly plant just in the middle of this area. So we've got to find an assembly plant. So let's turn off all the industries except the assembly plants. That's not very good. Okay, let's zoom in just a little bit. The assembly plants are currently flashing in white, and we can see in this big open area in the middle here there are no assembly plants. That's not great. Let's have a look at the land topography. Okay, so we've got higher land round here and higher land round there. So we're probably best either in this area or in that area. Now, come to think of it, we're going to be wanting to transport them over to Hellish City, which is a long way away. So if I start in the middle or in the back corner, that's not going to be good. So ideally we want to be starting somewhere on this coastline, I guess, for the assembly plant, and then having everything moving across the land and ending up at that point. Okay, so with that in mind, we want to be sort of on this west coast of the land. We probably want to try and avoid the middle, because that is got some high land and could cause us some problems. Let's have a look where those assembly plants are again. Assembly plants. Ugh. There's really only one near the coast that seems remotely accessible, and that is this one. Okay, so we've got Dentborough assembly plant. Now, by the way, if I build some infrastructure and an industry closes down, I might replace the industry by funding it. But we're going to try and use the industries that are there. You know what? That isn't the worst one, right? Okay, so we've got some lakes nearby. We can probably remove them later. We've got some flat land near it, and we're not surrounded by a city. This will have to do. Okay, so we're going to need to get as many stations in as possible, and as big as stations in as possible. Now, stations don't cost a massive amount of money. And if we go with the goods, what a goods loading station, B or A, either of them. And we want to try and get it as far away from this place as possible. Now, one of the things we're going to have to take into consideration is that we're then going to have to distribute the engineering supplies and farm supplies back away from this, which is why normally I'd want it everywhere. So let's, what are we going to do? We're going to put the station in? No, we won't put the station in because, like I said, it's not really a building episode. We're doing things a little bit different. Okay, so this is going to be our assembly plant, AP. Now, I just need to turn those signs back on. If I zoom right out, you can see it there. That's not a problem. Now, the assembly plant requires 4 inputs. Now, we've done something like this before. I think, was it season 9? We did an assembly plant and situation, but we've got slightly different mods, and we need to take things in a slightly different place. How we're going to get across this water, I'm not 100% sure. Probably a few land bridges and some bridges, like a combination of the two. So we need to get stuff into this assembly plant. Okay, so let's get... Oh, the list of industry chains has disappeared. So we need vehicle parts, vehicle bodies, vehicle engines and tyres. So you can see down roughly on this side here, just next to me, we've got a tyre plant, an engine plant, a component factory and a body factory. Those are the 4 things that we need. And we need to find out where they roughly are on the map and where it would be a good idea to link them up to. Ideally, we don't want them near each other because that could be a pain. So let's have a look. Let's zoom out and think roughly in this zone, where are they going to be? Okay, let's just center ourselves a little bit more over that. Okay, so let's look at tyre plant first. There we go. So there is a tyre plant up by the coast, and there's 2 tyre plants down here, and there's no tyre plants in the north. That says to me that one of these down here is going to have to be the tyre plant that we use. Not really going to have much choice about that. Let's label that tyre plant. Okay, let's see if we get lucky with the spread on this. So next one up is engine plant. So engine plant is over here. Ooh, okay, I thought we were going to have some problems, but there is actually an engine plant right here. It is next to a city, but the rest of the way around it is relatively clear. For now, I think this could be our engine plant. The next thing on the list is the component factory. We're doing a lot of good planning here. I'm hoping this planning pays off. Okay, so what was it? Component factory. Let's turn engine plant off and turn component factory on. Okay, so we've got a few different options for component factory. One of them's quite near the engine plant, so I'd like to avoid that if I can. And then we've got another one that's a little bit further inland here, and another one that's a bit further inland here. I think either of those two could be good options. We've got an engine plant that's not too far away from our assembly plant. You can see I just zoom in there. You can see it. But it's a bit close. I don't want this area to get too clogged up. And it's between... Well, hang on. That's the component factories still. Is it the component... Oh, right. I keep saying engine. I'm saying the wrong thing. Okay. There's a component factory near the engine plants up there that we want to try and avoid. Okay, yes. So I think this one over here could be good. Let's have a look. Oh, where is it? There? Yeah, okay. We've got a bit of hills there. That could be an issue. Then again, we can do some flattening around here. That's not the best component factory. What about this one? Again, near a hill, but also near a body of water. This one, I think, is probably going to be better. Okay, let's mark this one up. This one's going to be our component factory. And then finally, the body plant. Right, let's find out if we're going to have a good position for our body plant. Oh dear, look at that. We've got some bad positions for body plants. Okay, so looking at the... I think it was the tyre plant was nearby. Let's just turn that one back on for a moment. Where's tyre plant? There it is. Okay, it's not where I thought it was, so that's okay. So body plants. There's only 38 on the entire map. There are only 2 on this whole side of the island. And then there appears to be 4 in this bottom corner. So really, my options are one of these 2. Let's check this one. This one's quite far away. It's got a village not nearby. A bit of land height round it. But could be a lot worse. Okay, let's check the other one out. Is it this? It is this body plant. This one, again, a bit of hill near it, but there's not a massive amount of height. Again, a town nearby. Town nearby. But I guess if we fill that bit in, remove that river. Yeah, okay. This one we can do. But this one we can do. I think the fact that it's closer is worth it. So this is our body plant. Okay. So we're actually working backwards here, if you haven't noticed already. So let's zoom right out. Just move these things out of the way. So we've got our assembly plant up here. Our tyre plant over here. Body plant further south of the tyre plant. And then we've got our... I think that's the component factory over there. What is it? Yeah, the component factory over there. And then we've got the... oh, that's the assembly plant again. And then up this way, this is where we've got the engine plant. So we've got the first 4 things that are going into that. I'd love to be able to draw on the screen, like some cool little diagrams, but I can't really do that. So... And then the next job, so that's like the main industry is the assembly plant, like and then the first level, it depends which way around you're looking. You're not looking from the primary industry, we're looking for the production end. It's the tyre plant. Okay, so tyre plant. Let's have a look at that one. So tyre plant. Okay, so for a tyre plant, we need all of these things: rubber, carbon black, sulfur, steel wire rods, and they come from all of these 4 things here. 1 from each of them by the looks of it. So we've got bulk terminal, coke oven. You know what? Why am I not using the website for this? Why am I not using the website? There is a link. So if you go to masterhellish.net/S10, that's for this season. There's a link on that page. There we go. And we can actually have a look at the Steel Town cargo flow. Now, I know I don't normally do this in a video and normally do it in live streams, but let me see if I can show you this here. Let's get rid of me. Okay, live editing. There we go. So we see we've got an assembly plant, and we've already done the tyre plant, component factory, and body engine plant. You know what? I'm going to go drawing mode on this. Let's grab that. Okay. So we don't need to worry about this stuff. And we've got the assembly plant. We know which one we're going to have. We've just gone through and sorted out the body plant, the engine plant, and the tyre plant, and the component factory. Now, the thing that I want to be careful of is if any of these four things share something, I want that to be between them so I can do that. And it looks like... oh, God, there's all sorts of things that are going on in the middle here. There's a feedback loop within here as well, where we get zinc from wharfs to the pipe mill and then pipes back to the wharf again. This loop here, looking out for these loops where things go backwards and forwards. Let me just actually clean that up and show you properly. This is important because if you can get a wharf not too far from a sheet and pipe mill, then you can get these things going backwards and forwards, and we can hopefully generate some extra stuff there. Now, are there any other loops like that? I don't think there are. There's nothing that comes backwards, is there? Cleaning agents. Oh, that's another loop. So you get cleaning agents out of the wharf into a wire and section mill, and the wire and section mill makes steel sections that go into the wharf. And that's where the electrical parts come out for the component factory. So the wharf is a key thing for the component factory, and we need to make sure that there's a wire and section mill quite nearby and a sheet and pipe mill quite nearby. Now, the sheet and pipe mill is used for the body plant, so we need to make sure that that's on that side. And the wire and section mill is used for the tyre plant. Okay. So we need to check for a location between the tyre plant and the body plant that's also not too far from the component factory. So we want tyre plant, wire section, steel pipe, body plant. Okay. Let's go back to TTD. I'll put that on my other screen. And we'll see if we can get that little combination worked out. I don't think we need this now. Right, so starting up at the tyre plant, we want to be able to try and find a wire and section mill between the tyre plant and the component factory. Now, if I remember correctly, the component factory is the one that's really far away. Oh, it's not actually... oh, we've got a bit of a triangle here, look. Tyre plant, component factory. So ideally, between the two, or not far between the two, we want a wire and section mill. Let's have a look at the map. Oh, it's down here. Let's get the map of the world. Shall I change it so this is always full screen? Could be annoying. Let's temporarily change that. Make that as default. It probably won't work very well. Okay, so, yes. So we're looking for a wire and section mill. In this area. Oh, look at this. There is one slap bang in the middle. Here. Wire and section mill. Absolutely fantastic. Let's get that. Okay, so this is going to be the wire and section mill that is going to go out to both the tyre plant. It doesn't go straight to the component factory. It goes via a wharf. So we need a wharf somewhere around here. There's one there. That's a bulk terminal. So we're going to have to use this wharf. So this is... what's the best? Well, let's do WH... Wharf. I wanted 3 letters. I'm using 3 letters for the tertiary. I suppose the primary, in this case, because we're working backwards, for the assembly plant, should just be P for plant. So we've got P for plant. Okay. And then we want between the component factory and the body plant, which are these two, we want a sheet and pipe mill. And that sheet and pipe mill will also go to the wharf. So, sheet and pipe mill. Map. There we go, nice and big. Sheet and pipe mill. Okay, let's turn off that. Let's turn on the sheet and pipe mill. No, is the simple answer. There is not one in that area. There's one over here. Somewhere. Is that it? That's a wiring section. Here. No, that's an arc furnace. Is that it? Oh, there it is. There's the mill. Sheet and pipe mill. The problem here... I've lost it. Is that it? Nope. Where was it? Oh, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. So, my mouse cursor is on the sheet and pipe mill. If we have that there, the sheet and pipe mill, we'll have stuff going from there down to the body plant, which is okay. And we'll have stuff from the sheet and pipe mill going to the wharf, which again is okay. The only problem is that we'll then have stuff coming from the wire and section mill across those lines towards the tyre plant. But you know what? I think that the overlaid triangles here will be fine. So we'll place the sign. And this is a sheet and... Oh, pipe mill. I'm not... Yep. There we go. So this is an important part, I feel, of the whole furs situation. There is a slag grinding plant which delivers cement to the wharf, and that's it. So maybe we'll have to look at one of them later on. But let me just show you the flow of things around here and see if I can remember it. So I'm just going to copy my screen. We'll go back into that weird little mode for just a moment. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, so the wire and section mill is going to be delivering stuff to the... Oh, where's the other map gone? Let's move that onto my other screen. Where's it gone? Yes, so the wire and section mill is going to be going to the tyre plant, like this. Sorry about that popping up. It happens when I change the density, the pixel density on my mouse. It also goes to the wharf, and the wharf goes to the component factory. And then we have the wire and section mill also going to the wharf, but then going down to the body plant. Okay, so we've got this little kind of crossover here, which is not ideal. Okay, but we can get by that. We can get by that. Oh, hang on. The wire and section mill receives from the wharf. Silly me. And so does the... Right, okay. I've got those arrows the wrong way around. The principle's the same. Okay. Goes like this. Okay. So we've got... From the wharf, we have cleaning agents. Or is it steel sections? Oh, they both go in both directions. Silly me. I said the wrong thing. There we go. It's bi-directional. Okay, we've got things going that way and things going that way. So overall, and then what you've got to remember is these all go out to the vehicle plant, the assembly plant, like this. So it might be that to keep things neat, we bring stuff out from the body plant out and around. Okay, like this. This is going to be the core of what we're going to be doing. And then somewhere around here, because the wharf also accepts sodium hydroxide and cement, we'll need a slag grinding plant. And then I think that's going to be about it for the main core of what's going on here. So that is it. That's what we're going to be building. I feel like if I get this in first, we're going to be looking pretty good. Now, of course, these aren't primary industries, okay? So, let's just go back to OpenTTD. They're not primary. They're not even secondary or tertiary, actually, come to think of it. We need to actually get the raw resources in there. Okay, so let's see. Where are we looking? I've lost it now on my page. Here we go. Right, so the last bit of drawing for today, which I'm going to show you on my screen. This is what I... Oh, hang on, I've got the rubber. That's not going to be no good. So this is kind of what we're calling like the level 1, the first level. And then we've got level 2 down here. Okay. Now, level 3 is what we've just been doing. We've just been sorting out these items here. The wharf and these two. The slag grinding plant will include in that. And also the carbon black. That's going to be one as well. We haven't done that one yet. But that's a relatively straightforward thing. Like we find a coke oven somewhere, probably in the middle of the map, to get all the different coal mines from all over the place. And then just pipe it in through there. What we need to do is actually get the next levels done. So we need to work out how we're going to do this section. And then we've got a bulk terminal, which is kind of its own little thing. And then we've got kind of this level. And then it's all the primary industries. He says, going wrong. Primary industries. Okay. Some of these are kind of semi-primary because the bulk terminal will produce stuff. Oh, the iron ore mine. Oh, how do I get the iron ore mine on this diagram? Hang on a second. Alright, so we kind of go lime kiln and then glassworks. And then, like, the iron ore mine is going like that. There we go. So they're the primaries. Now, we don't care where the primaries are because we're just going to go out and get them. And then the secondaries, which I'm going to include the coke oven, actually. We're just going to plonk, or we're going to just try and grab them near the middle of the map. Because they'll be linked up to as many primaries as possible. So we'll have one coke oven, one each of these plants and kilns and so forth. And then we'll just find a bulk terminal. Now the bulk terminal will need to be not too far from these two plants. So we can get things going in. But also it needs to be relatively close to the component factory, the tyre plant, and wherever we put the electric arc furnace. And actually, to be honest, everything else as well. Oh my goodness, this is starting to blow my mind. Maybe we're going to need multiple bulk terminals. Actually, multiple bulk terminals might be a good idea. Because if we use one bulk terminal for... Oh no, I just think one massive bulk terminal would probably be so much more fun to do. So the bulk terminal is going to have to be very central around these secondary industries. Okay. Right. Let's get rid of that. Get back into OpenTTD. Trying to make this as clean as possible to make it easier for us in the future. Okay, so we need the electric arc furnace and the scrapyard. Oh, hang on, a scrapyard. Scrapyards, they are a primary industry, but they're different. They come from cities and stuff, and their output depends on the size of the city. So we should have been growing that from the very start of the game. Oh, that's a problem. Okay, so let's have a look at the scrapyards. There's loads of scrapyards. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the industry list, I think. Industry directory. Produced cargoes. What does the scrapyard produce? Scrap metal, of course. Scrap metal. Where's scrap metal? Produced cargo. Oh, it is there. Just overlooked it. We're going to sort by production and just find out the biggest ones on the map and just see if they're in this area. So that one is not. Okay, so I'm just clicking through here. Nope, that one's actually in Beantown. That one is not on our island. Okay, that one is. So the fourth biggest and fifth biggest are on our island. Okay, that's okay then. I guess. So the scrap metal is going to go to the electric arc furnace, and the electric arc furnace needs to be somewhere not too far from the component factory. Okay, looking at the diagram. It also looks like it potentially produces, is that carbon steel? For the wire and section mill. So the component factory and wire and section mill is where the arc furnace is going to be for collecting the scrap metal. Okay, so this is giving us a bit of an idea here of where we're going to be doing this. So either going to be northish or southish. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be southish here. So wire and section mill, which is here. And the component factory, which is actually there. So it might actually be best to look for an electric arc furnace over here and then have the scrap metal come from the north. Right, well, we'll do that then. Let's look for an electric arc furnace around here. Okay, electric arc furnace. Okay, there are quite a few. There's one here, but that appears to be right next to the plant. We don't want that next to the plant. There's an electric arc furnace just here. It's next to a big hill, but we could probably cut a little bit of the hill and build a little bit on the water. And that's kind of halfway between the scrapyard and the wire and section mill, which is down here, and the component factory. So wire and section mill going up, component factory going up, then it would be just over wherever it was here. God, that's quite a distance. That is quite a distance. There is one a bit closer here, but it is much further away from either of the scrapyards. What about the sixth one? That's not even on the island, is it? Seventh and eighth? No. Okay then, we're going with scrapyard number 4. This one. This is going to be our scrapyard. Our scrapyard is kind of a primary. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 letters long. Following my... And we can get scrap in that. Scrap. So that's where our scrap's coming from. We need to grow that city. That's a priority. And then... where's the map? Oh, I lost the map. Okay. And then it was... Oh, actually... We do have this electric arc furnace. It's further away from the other things that we're doing over here. Very far away. But... I've lost it. Map, map, map. Yeah. But it's not too far from the scrapyard, and it's got much better land around it. So maybe we actually do that one. Yeah, I think so. This is going to be the electric arc furnace. So there's the electric arc. That looks like a capital L, doesn't it? Okay, instead of let's do electric arc furnace. So there we go. Scrap electric arc furnace, and then that comes all the way down here to the component factory and the wire and section mill. It's going to be a long way. It's going to be a long way, but that's what we're going to do. Well, I think that's been enough planning for now. We've got the main loop, this bit, the main loop figured out. What's going to be going where, what's going to be passed back. This loop, if you can get it going pretty early, is a really important bit of trying to get your production up. Because there's some things in here, because you're coming from a wharf, you get some production. You get into the section mill, that brings things back, and you actually start producing vehicles relatively early on. Okay, so we're going to start and get this little loop going first. Well, actually second. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start growing this city, because it needs to grow a lot. And the only thing we can do with the cities in this particular version of the game that we've got going for this map is just put 5 things in it. And we'll do that at the beginning of the live stream. So at the beginning of Tuesday next week, we will start growing this city and we'll start building out all the railways and stations and stuff for all of these places that I'm probably making look terrible through the bitrate of the video by scrolling around. A bit of a different episode today. You've had a real deep look at how I plan some of my networks. This is often things I think about between episodes, or sometimes I'll double check things, or maybe I'll just look at a line and think, well, where can that go before I even start. So when I do start the episode, I've got a plan in mind and we can just roll with it. And let me know what you think. I mean, I don't think every episode should be like this, otherwise we'd never have any track, would we? But for now, that is going to be all. And again, like I said, let me know down in the comments what you thought, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, take care, goodbye.